Well, hello there. I'm Barbara Westcott. I'm the founder of Women Wednesdays, and welcome to our co-working at Domi Station. So if you haven't heard of Domi Stations, it's our community co-working and incubator space, and it's where, if you're starting a business or an effort or anything like that, you can be a part of a dynamic community where people are together to help each other succeed, and that's the main thing that we want to do with Women Wednesdays, is just build that collaborative community of women that are here to help each other succeed. So if you want to get involved with Women Wednesdays, you can generally find us at Domi Station or out in the community, but check us out at www.womenwednesdays.com. So let me hand it over to our membership coordinator, Robin. Take it away, Robin.
Thank you, Barbara. I'm Robin Yateman. Outside of Women Wednesdays, I'm with Joyce Publishing. We're responsible for AdMax Magazine and Home and Yard. But for Women's Wednesdays, I am your membership coordinator. If you like our program and want to help us grow, sponsorship memberships are available, $89 a month, or excuse me, a year, or $9 a month. We'd love to have you join us online. And to keep up with the meetings, you can also find us on our Facebook group. That's a good place to keep up, to find out where we're going to be each Wednesday. I hope you'll join us.
Yeah.
And now I'll turn things over to Mara with One More Child.
That's great. Take it away, Mark.
Hello, did you miss me? I know you're used to seeing me come up here and get started, but I'm wearing multiple hats today. So I'm excited to come to you as usual as the Regional Director of Partnerships in the Panhandle region for One More Child. And I know I share all the time about how I'm excited about where I get to work, because our mission is to support vulnerable children and struggling families that are in need. And we do that through foster care, through anti-trafficking efforts, through supporting single moms and their families, through child hunger efforts. And we do that locally, we do that nationwide, and we do that globally. So if you want to find out how you can support children and families in need, it's a cause that will never end, unfortunately, but that we're always here and committed to supporting. Find out more at onemorechild.org. But I have the pleasure of having a colleague here with me today. She is our speaker for today. She is the Northwest Regional Director of Northwest Regional Senior Director of Foster Care for One More Child. I'm happy to welcome Pam Emmert. She's going to share about foster care.
All right.
Thank you, Tamara. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you, ladies, for allowing me to have the opportunity to just share about what I get to do and what I love to do. And as Tamara mentioned, we are an agency that works locally, nationally, and globally, and we have several different programs outside of foster care that she mentioned and that you can see. But I get the privilege and the honor of working with foster care. And so I will just talk to you a little bit today about foster care and what I do as the Northwest Regional Senior Director. And that basically covers the whole Panhandle. We're working from, in my area, Tallahassee, all the way over to Pensacola and every county in between. So we work with 4 judicial circuits, and we serve the foster families and the children that come into our care in those homes. Last year, in 2022, we had 1,328 children in care statewide. We were able to see 129 of those adopted into our foster family homes. So we have the privilege of having a big impact with vulnerable children. And we see children come into care throughout the region due to abuse, abandonment, or neglect, which is the removal process. Obviously, when children are in an unsafe situation, they can be removed from their home. And then if a relative, a family member, or someone close to them with a connection is not found, they will be placed in licensed care, which is what we do. We do level 2 licensed care. I have some great staff members that help do that. And so I just want to mention them right now. These are the supervisors who head up the work in these areas. So in the Chipley and Panama City area, Monica Blazuk is our supervisor there. I've put the phone number so that you can see that if you're in that region and you have questions or are interested in being a part of the foster care work, you can give her a call. In Pensacola, Tessa Bailey heads up that region, and she works with the workers in that area and the foster families in that area. And then here in Tallahassee, where we're at right now, is Lindsay Mercer, and she's our supervisor there. All their phone numbers are there, so you can jot those down. If you have questions about foster care, if you're interested in being a part of the work, being licensed as a foster parent, or supporting foster parents, they're a great contact for you, and don't hesitate to reach out to them. But let me just talk a little bit about what foster parents do. Foster parents serve vulnerable children, while their biological caregivers are getting services to help them establish safe, healthy homes. So our families understand that these children are going to come into their homes for a limited amount of time. And during that time, they have the opportunity to share love with that child, help that child have normal, healthy experiences, encourage those children academically, and just involve those children in their own interests. And they also encourage the biological family. They will try to support that family in being a healthy parent. They will often do visits with that family. They will invite that family to events that they do. It might be birthday parties. It might be going to church. It might be community events that they attend, a fair. And they will invite that biological family along so that they can also kind of mentor that family as they are serving their children, while the biological caregivers are getting services that they need to be able to provide a safe home. For our agency, in order to be a licensed foster parent, there are several eligibility requirements, and these are kind of common sense, but I'll just kind of flip through them real quickly so that you're aware of what you would need to be licensed as a foster parent. Obviously, you need to be 21 years or older. There's no top age limit. A lot of times people think they're too old to foster. You're never too old to be a foster parent. Also, you need to live in your local community at least 6 months so that you just have some establishment there and are comfortable there. You need to be in good health. And we sometimes require a physician's report just to make sure that there are no factors that are going to limit your ability to provide care for a child. Financial stability is important. You need to be able to pass background screenings. We do level 2 background screenings. If you're married, you need to have been married for a year. Reliable transportation is important because those children will need to get to school, to doctor's appointments, to visits with their biological family. You'll need a sufficient space. You got to have a bedroom where the children can sleep and bed space for them. You need to be able to complete the 21-hour pre-service course, which is required of all foster parents. In our area, it's called Quality Parenting Training. And we do teach that and provide that course free of charge. And then you need to be able to work with that biological family as well as the children. And for us, you need to be active in a local Christian church. So those are our base requirements for being a foster parent. And if you're interested in doing that, you can reach out via the internet on our website, onemorechild.org, and just click on the foster care tab, and it'll take you straight through to inquire and get that process started. One of the verses that I put up that just to me emulates what I see in our foster parents is this verse out of James. It says, "But the wisdom that comes from God is like this. First, it is pure. It is also peaceful, gentle, and easy to please. This wisdom is always ready to help people who have trouble and to do good for others." And when I think about the foster parents that I get to work with in this area, I think they emulate these things. They are always looking for ways to serve children, to encourage their families. They're always looking for ways to provide and show love. We have our foster parents so often they will encourage the children to pray for their family as they're going through the steps that they need to do to get those whatever factors influence safety mitigated. And so we just see our foster families coming around those children and those families to just encourage them. We know that they've gone through a hard time, that they didn't mean to get here. Nobody wants to underserve their own children. And so they just come around with loving intentions and actions to really encourage and serve those families. We have informational sessions every Tuesday evening. In the Central Time Zone, it's at 6 p.m., and in the Eastern Time Zone, it's at 7 p.m. And so if you're interested in learning more about what it would take to become a foster parent, if you're interested in helping out in any way, this is a great place to get started, is just to jump in on one of these virtual information sessions. They're only 1 hour, and you can ask questions. It's a great time to just get more information on what foster care is about. So you can email those or give a phone call to those 3 supervisors that I mentioned earlier. You can reach out at www.onemorechild.org and get that information. And we will link you up with a link to join that information session every Tuesday evening. Also, we realize that not everyone is faith-centered, and that may not be a big part of your life. So there is also a general statewide number for foster care there are various agencies that provide foster care services. And so if networking with a faith-based agency is not up your alley, I just want you to be aware that there are other options. And so this number will get you to those links. So you can go and it will connect you with an agency in your area, wherever you are in the state, and they will counsel you and talk to you about what agency might be the best fit for what you feel called to do. So I threw that number up there just in case there's anybody that says, this probably isn't a fit for me with One More Child, but we might be interested in still serving. So we want you to have that opportunity. There's no reason not to get involved if you feel like you're being led that way. So we definitely would like to see you jump in there. And you don't have to be a licensed foster parent to serve foster children. There are lots of avenues and ways that you can do that. We have lots of people that will jump in and bring meals to the families. They'll provide babysitting under normalcy. You can babysit without being screened or anything for just an hour or 2, as long as you've developed a relationship with that foster parent. So there's lots of ways that you can get involved outside of just being a licensed foster parent. And if that's something that you would be interested in, we would love for you to reach out and connect with our agency. Just again, onemorechild.org, that you can hit the tabs. There's lots of ways to be involved, and just follow through those links and we'll get you connected in your area. We are a statewide agency, so anywhere you're at, we can connect you with opportunities to serve with foster ministry. And that's, Tamara's got some opportunities maybe to share about some things. And I don't know if there are any questions. I'd be happy to field a few questions.
Well, I have a question. So, I really wasn't aware that the babysitting component to support foster parents.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Something I didn't know about. So
Governor Rick Scott years ago passed a bill, a statute called Normalcy. And when that statute passed, it allowed foster parents to make reasonable decisions for children. And one of those is if they have a person that they trust and somebody that they have screened personally themselves and feel safe with, they are allowed to allow them to watch those children for a limited amount of time. So anything over 3 overnights has to be screened and gone through a process. But for like a youth camp, they can trust that youth worker, those youth workers who are taking them maybe for a camp over the weekend or an overnight sleepover, things like that. That's up to the foster parents' wise and discernible parenting, just like you would for any child in your care. You would, you wouldn't just let a child go with anyone, right? You would make sure that you've kind of done your due diligence to make sure that this is a safe individual, that your children are going to be in good care, and you can allow them to babysit or care for your children. And the same is true with foster children.
And so, I'm kind of curious too, sort of the need, what is is there some data on the number of children that are looking to be placed, or the amount of, foster parents that are needed?
Well, unfortunately, there's always a need for foster parents. We take calls through what's called the placement team every day. And unfortunately, there is always a high number. I don't have the data. I mean, you can go on the Department of Children and Families website and it will give you information. But unfortunately, there's always a need for licensed foster care because children are coming into care because of unsafe environments every day. Obviously, a high need is always teens, because teens are sometimes difficult to place. Families are often more willing, especially if they have children in their home, to take younger children. So teens can often be a difficult placement, but that's why I said that older age, if you are empty nesters and you've still got that bedroom at home, you would be a great person to be able to serve. You've already got parenting experience, and you can bring a teenager into your home and just encourage them. So we're always looking, but children of all ages, we unfortunately, we always have a need for placement from 0 to 17. So, yeah.
Like, I've got all the questions. So what are some of the ways, so say you don't think you can become a foster parent, and then we talked about the avenue of like which babysitting and helping in that way. What are some of the other ways people can support, the work that you're doing and just foster care in general? Are there other ways people can be mindful of ways that they can help?
Of course, yeah, there are. Obviously, at our agency, you can volunteer. And so we have lots of volunteer opportunities. Again, if you go to our website and just click volunteer, you'll see a list of ways that you can be involved in serving children. And those can involve anything from like yard work on our campuses, where we have family foster homes and single moms programs, to helping individual families with babysitting, laundry, meals. So there are lots of opportunities. If you have a skill that you are good at, like you're a teacher and you wouldn't mind tutoring some kids, or you're good at organization and you could come in the office and help us with some of our materials and printing. If you're good with computers, or you're good with, there's always ways that we can use whatever skills and gifts that you're willing to donate. And we do a lot of internships with students from the colleges. So there's lots of opportunities and ways that you can get plugged in.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. Do we have any other
Yeah.
questions?
I do.
Okay, well,
I do. Actually, Pam, would you mind telling us how long have you been doing this work? Yeah, please tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. So I have an education background. I started off similar to Tamara in the education field, classroom teacher. And my husband and I moved to Tallahassee 17 years ago, when he became the pastor at Celebration Baptist Church. And then I began teaching elementary school. I taught at Killearn Lakes for about 5 years. And at that time, my children were getting older, and I was trying to decide if I would continue to be an educator or if there was something else out there. And it was just neat how God led me to one more child. And I became a family support worker, what we were called then, but basically it was working with the families who were fostering to just support, encourage them, and help them through the licensing process. So that's how I got involved. I've been doing it now for almost 11 years. In July, it'll be 11 years. And I've worked with the foster care part and the adoption side of things. So have been kind of plunged into all those arenas and been able to work in the child welfare arena for quite a while now.
And have you seen, 11 years is a long time to do this work, and it's a great contribution to our community. Are there any changes that you've seen over the years that are notable and that are maybe encouraging or send up an alarm, kind of like there's urgency for a change?
Well, I will say in the child welfare arena, I think the new emphasis on mental health that we're seeing our legislators and our government bringing that to light has been really helpful with kids, because we know that anytime a child's removed from their home, no matter what reason, that's traumatic. And so we want to provide trauma-informed care for those children. And mental health is a big part of that. We want children, they are impacted emotionally when they lose their caregiver. Even if that seemed a bit unsafe, that child has a strong attachment to any caregiver that's been providing for their needs. And so that big emphasis on mental health has been a huge asset in providing mental health services for all children that have been impacted by being removed from their home is important. And then I would say the other thing that I've seen in child welfare is that new emphasis on fathers. I think it's great that we are making sure that we are involving fathers and making sure that we're finding fathers and that they're involved in their children's care and inviting them to be involved in their children's care. So those are two things that I've seen recently that I feel are huge advances to help make sure that children stay connected to their biological family, have safe opportunities for getting care for any trauma they've experienced. And so I've seen that those things I feel have been a good legislation and good emphasis to help our children in care.
Thank you.
Outstanding.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for letting me be here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We're just so honored to have you
I
here. And I'll tell
appreciate
you,
it.
tomorrow, each and every week when we have Women Wednesday, she's always talking about one more child. And it's just incredible the work that you're doing and how much, how important it is to our community as a whole. So
Thank
thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Well, if you don't mind, I'm just going to mention next week for Women Wednesdays, we have an incredible speaker. You can stay right here. It's fine.
Oh, yeah.
We have an incredible speaker. So we're going to have Dot Inman Johnson, and she's going to be talking about, she's written a book, but she's also going to be talking about the importance of Black history as part of our community heritage. So she's just going to be incredible. So we're really looking
Awesome.
forward. Maybe you can come back for that
Okay.
too.
Thank you.
So anyway, well, thank you all so much for joining us at Women Wednesdays. Remember, if you want to get involved with Women Wednesdays, just go to womenwednesdays.com. And do you want to be a speaker? Do you want to join us as a speaker? Just go to our website, look up our speaker series. There's a form. Anybody can sign up to be a speaker. But also, if you're an organization and you want to highlight the important work you're doing, like One More Child, reach out to us. We just want to help people and see people succeed by us all collaborating, working together. So thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next week.